It's been a year since we lost Dad. I can still feel the ache in my chest when I think about him. He was my only parent, and I had always looked up to him. My sister and I were never particularly close, especially after she got married to her husband, who, let's just say, wasn't the nicest person. He had a way of making backhanded comments about Dad's illness and even mocked him at the funeral. That was when I truly started to distance myself from her. Since Dad's passing, I've been living with my aunt. My brother-in-law didn't want me staying at their house, and though I tried to understand it, the pain was still there. My sister used her share of the inheritance to buy new cars and renovate her home. Meanwhile, I had always dreamed of becoming a doctor, something Dad always supported. The money Dad left behind was my chance to make that dream come true. I'm not sure which branch of medicine I want to pursue yet, but I've decided to take a gap year and figure it out, while also preparing to pay for college tuition. Lately, though, my sister has been showing up at my aunt's house a lot, venting about her husband's ongoing health problems. He's in and out of the hospital with heart issues, and now he needs surgery. She's been dropping hints about how the family needs to support her, especially financially, given his situation. But the way she brought it up made me uncomfortable. Every time she mentioned my inheritance money, I would cut the conversation short. Then, one day, she asked outright if I could help pay for her husband's surgery. She promised she would pay me back within a year. The request made me feel uneasy. I didn't trust that she would actually be able to pay it back before I needed the money for college. I knew if I gave her that money, there was no guarantee I'd get it back, certainly not in time for my education. My sister's history with finances hadn't been great, and with her husband's health problems, I didn't see how they could manage to pay me back. I refused to help, and the reaction was intense. She had a meltdown at my aunt's house, calling me heartless, cruel, and accusing me of having no empathy. She told me her husband's health was the most important thing, and education didn't compare to someone's life. She even asked if I'd be happy to see her as a widow, raising my nephew alone. It was hard to hear, and the guilt started to creep in. My aunt suggested that others should help, but most of the family had distanced themselves from my sister and her husband, making it clear that they weren't willing to support them financially. The argument continued to escalate, and despite my sister's tears and pleas, I stood firm in my decision. I kept telling her that her husband's health wasn't my fault, and I couldn't jeopardize my own future for their problems. But she kept guilt-tripping me, crying about how I was turning my back on family. After the argument, she started sending me texts and pictures of her family, showing me how happy and healthy they could be if I just helped. The images of a perfect family with a healthy husband and father made me question myself. Was I being selfish? Was I wrong to prioritize my future over helping them? I cried, wondering if I was being a bad sister and aunt. Maybe I was being too harsh, but I kept remembering my dream. My friend, the only one who seemed to understand, told me that if I gave them the money, I'd never see it again, and I might lose my chance at medical school. His words were a wake-up call, and they gave me some peace of mind. But even with all of that, the guilt didn't go away. My sister has been relentless, texting me almost daily, showing me more pictures of her family, reminding me of what I'm saying no to. But every time I think about what's at stake for me, my future, and the sacrifices I've made to get this far, I know deep down that I can't afford to give in. So here I am, torn between family and my own dreams, trying to make the best decision I can, even if it feels like I'm breaking my sister's heart. What's the right thing to do when the world is pulling you in two different directions?